Hello, good morning friends. Once again I welcome you to my class of 10th standard, and today it's going to be an English class. And as you can see on the board, today we are going to study the first chapter of your textbook, First Flight. And the name of the first chapter is A Letter to God, written by G.L. Fuentes. This is basically a story. Okay, and it's a very simple, very easy story to understand. So we are just going to briefly discuss the story, okay, along with the glossary which I have already written on the board. While we are discussing the story, I would like to remind you that you should keep your textbook in your hand, so that while the lecture is going on, you should just go through the story by yourself. It's very easy to understand. So, before we start discussing the story, let me just give you a brief introduction of the writer. The writer, Gregorio Fuentes, who was a Mexican writer. Okay, and as you can see, he has been credited with an outstanding achievement of living in 3 different centuries. You can see, he was born in the 19th century and he lived in the entire 20th century, okay, and then eventually he died in the 21st century, okay. So overall he lived for 105 years, so he had a very long life, okay. As far as his career is concerned, initially in his youth, in the beginning of his career, he was a fisherman, and then out of the hobby he started writing poems, and actively he started doing journalism also. And after being a poet and a journalist, he also started writing short stories, okay, and he was greatly successful in his career as a writer. And this is one of the short stories this is one of the many short stories that he has written, A Letter to God. Okay, so now let us start discussing about the story. I will give you the brief outline, the brief summary of the story. I'll explain you what the story is all about. The chief character of the story, first of all, is Lancho. Lancho is a simple kind of spiritual farmer, a very simple farmer, okay, who lives in a small village. Okay, and the main feature of Lancho's character is that he has immense faith in God. Okay, he lives on the crest of a hill with his family. He has a small family and a small house. As you can see, in the word means crest means top of a hill. Okay, so in the context of the story, we should understand that the house is situated on a top of a hill, in front of which there is a small farm that he possesses, okay, and right now he's approaching the monsoon season. He's approaching a good amount of rain that would fall on his farm, and that would give him a good return on his crops. Okay, in the story it has been mentioned that he has planted corn crops, so he's expecting a good amount of rain to come. Okay, he was waiting for the rain, but unfortunately the rain did not come in a good amount. Okay, it was not a normal rain, it was in fact a hailstorm. Hailstorm means the kind of heavy rain with a very strong wind, and along with it there were the pieces of snow would fall along the rain on the ground. Okay, the stone-sized pieces of snow would fall on the ground. So obviously that kind of rain is not going to be good for the crops. So due to this kind of rain, due to this kind of hailstorm, his crops was totally destroyed, and he was in deep sadness to see this. This was something that he could not do anything about it. Okay, so he was deeply distressed, and he was thinking while seeing the destruction that this year he would not be in a position to feed his family. Okay, but as I told you earlier, that he had deep, immense faith in God. So he decided to take help from God, and he decided to write a letter to God. He was so much faithful to God that he was having a great amount of confidence in him, that in case if he would write a letter to God, he would definitely get a kind of positive reply from God. So he went to the post office. He wrote a letter to God in which he made an appeal to God that as he was out of money, he was short of money, God should help him by providing him 100 pesos. Okay, in the context of the story, we should understand peso is the name of a currency, the kind of currency which is used in so many Latin American countries, or we should call it South American countries, the countries which are situated in South America continent, okay, like Mexico, and then Brazil, Argentina, Chile, okay, Peru, Colombia, Paraguay. In many countries this currency is used, peso. So he asked for the help of 100 pesos from God, and he was very much confident that this letter would reach to God and eventually he would be helped by God. Okay, and somehow this letter came into the hands of a postmaster. He read this entire letter, and he was deeply moved to see that some farmer, a simple and a poor farmer, was in a great need of money. And with his common sense, he knew it very well that God would not be able to directly help this farmer by giving him 100 pesos. Okay, in practical life, it was not possible. We all have the faith in God. Okay, we are all spiritual people. Okay, but we also understand that such kind of help would not be provided by God in practical life. So he knew it very well, the postmaster. But he was moved to see that since Lancho was in dire need of money, okay, so he decided to help by himself. He made an appeal to the post office employees to contribute to part from their salaries, to give him certain amount of share from the salaries, and he also contributed from his side, and he contributed from his side as well, and he collected money with the help of the employees, and then after whatever collection was made, he counted that collection, and then it came to round about 70 pesos. It came to exactly as 70 pesos. Okay, it was not exactly how much Lancho wanted actually, but still the postmaster thought that it was a considerable amount of money that would be of great help to Lancho. So he collected that money, he put them into an envelope and waited for Lancho, because he was quite sure that Lancho would definitely come to check whether there was any mail from God or not. So as he was expecting, Lancho came in a few days only, and made an inquiry about his mail. And in reply, the post office employees told him that there was a reply from God he has already received through a mail. Okay, Lancho was not so much surprised to hear that. He was so much confident that as he has written to God, okay, he would definitely get a reply from God. So he was handed over an envelope by the employees, and Lancho opened the envelope, and he found that there was an amount of money. He counted the money, and he came to know that there were 70 pesos. Okay, he became thoughtful for a while. And an idea came into his mind that since he had asked for 100 pesos from God, how would be possible? How would it be possible for a God to send only 70 pesos? He had that much of faith in God that since he had asked for 100 pesos, God would definitely give him 100 pesos only, not 70 pesos. So he decided to immediately decided to write another letter to God. Now, in this particular letter, he made an appeal to God. He made two appeals to God. The first appeal was he asked God to send him the rest of the amount, that is 30 pesos. That was the difference between 100 pesos and 70 pesos. So the first appeal was to send him that difference, the remaining amount, that is 30 pesos to him. And another appeal was, that was quite ironical in the context of the story, that this time around, God should not send him money through the post office. He should rather send him the money directly to his house. Okay, so these were the two appeals that he made to God this time, and then he sealed the letter into an envelope and handed it over to the post office staff members, the employees. Okay, after he had gone, the postmaster again opened the letter and found that instead of being thankful to the post office employees, the Lancho cursed the post office employees, okay, in the letter to God, that he clearly had mentioned the reason why he wanted God to send money to his house and not through the post office. He wrote a reason to God that you must have sent 100 pesos to me, but these post office employees are crooks. They might have taken away 30 pesos. So that's why you should send money directly to my house and not through the post office. So this way, the postmaster was deeply in shock that instead of being thankful to me or the post office employees, this fellow is cursing us, is blaming us for taking away his money. Okay, and he should have understood that God was not going to help him directly. Okay, but he did not, unfortunately, he did not understand that. And instead of understanding, he cursed the post office employees for stealing 30 pesos from the amount that was sent by God. So basically, the ending of the story is quite ironical. It shows the conflict between the humans and the humans, a human and humans. Okay, it clearly gives us an idea that there are so many humans who do not have any trust in humans. They might have a great faith or trust in God, but the human being does not have the kind of faith or trust in human beings. Okay, so despite the fact that there are so many helpful humans living on this earth, the other human beings would still not be ready to trust them. Okay, so with this kind of ironical note, the story comes to an end. Okay, so you should read this story for 2 or 3 times, and you should also mark the word meanings, which are already given in the textbook. But apart from those word meanings, the kind of words, maybe a kind of difficult words, I have already noted on the board. You should go through to them, okay, and make marks in your note, and you should note them in your notebooks. You should write them in the notebooks, okay. This side also, there are plenty of meanings. You should understand the context of the story. You should make an effort to learn the word meanings by yourself also. The most ideal way of learning the meanings is to use them in your own sentence, because just by knowing the meaning of the word, you are not going to remember them forever. Okay, but in case if you just try to frame a sentence, okay, try to frame a sentence in which you include these words, then you will definitely know the meaning of these words. So this is the way to learn the vocabulary actually. Okay, so this was a summary of the first story, A Letter to God. and it's very easy to understand. The detailed story you should go through in the textbook, as I told you earlier. Okay, so I'm finishing this lecture, and lastly I would just like to mention that the notes related to this lecture I will send you, okay, through the internet, through the social media platform whichever you are using, or through whichever medium that the school is sending you this lecture. You will definitely get the notes related to this first chapter from my side. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much for attending the lecture, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you.